Hey guys, it's Chris. From the common to the most unusual and rare, why do we have the colors in the first place? Join me as I reveal the rarest eye colors in the world. Number 8. Why do we have lots of eye colors? The question you might have had over the years, or even when you looked in the mirror, is why you have the eye color that you do. What makes it so that we have various eye colors, and why do they appear so differently in many different people, or even defy genetics at times? Eye color is a polygenic phenotypic character determined by two distinct factors: the pigmentation of the eye's iris and the frequency dependence of the scattering of light by the turbid medium in the stroma of the iris. Or in more basic terms, when it comes to our eye color, there's a spectrum that often determines what our eye color will become. The range is from that of light brown all the way to black. And in regards to the way it lands on one color over another, it's based on the combination of melanin in the pigments of the back of our eyes, the melanin in the iris stroma at the front of your eyes, and then the density of the stroma itself. Eye color is thus an instance of structural color, and varies depending on the lighting conditions, especially for lighter colored eyes. And not unlike many other things in the world today, there are various instances that can cause eyes to look beyond the normal color scale, or land in a more atypical section of the scale. As if that wasn't enough, the genes that help determine eye color are far more complicated than something like hair color. There are 15 different genes that are connected to how eye color forms, and scientists still don't understand how it all works. Number 7. Green eyes. On the surface, the idea of seeing someone with green eyes is something you might think is common, but it's not. Usually, if you're seeing a person with green eyes, it's often hazel just lit in a way that seems green, or a misidentifier. Having green eyes is in fact one of the rarest colors out there. What's more, it's actually rather hard to pinpoint how much of the world honestly has green eyes at all. It's believed that the number is around 2% in total have green eyes, but there's no definitive proof that this number is true. What's more, as noted, it can be hard at a glance to tell the difference between hazel eyes and green eyes, as hazel has green mixed in with the brown. Green eyes are more common in Northern and Central Europe, though they can also be found in Southern Europe as well as Western Asia. There are spots where it is a bit more pronounced. In Ireland and Scotland, 86% of the population has either blue or green eyes. And in Iceland, 89% of women and 87% of men have blue or green eyes. Among European Americans, green eyes are most common in people of recent Celtic or Germanic ancestry. Green eyes also tend to be more common in women. Despite the preference of regions, it should be noted that anyone from any region can have green eyes. Some famous people who have such an eye color include Emma Stone, John Hamm, Adele, Eddie Redmayne, and more. Number 6. Heterochromia. When you think about eye color, you think about how one person has a singular eye color in both eyes. That's their distinction, if you will. However, there are people all over the world that have more than one eye color, and this is known as heterochromia. Heterochromia is a rare eye condition where a person's irises are different colors. Now, despite what people think, heterochromia is not a singular thing. Rather, there are 3 different kinds of conditions for heterochromia. You can have one iris be a different color than the other, a spot on the iris can be a different color, or an inner ring can be a different color than the outer ring. Another interesting fact about heterochromia is that some people try and hide it, while others aren't afraid to show it off. And why is that? It's down to human preference, among other things. Depending on their type of heterochromia, it can be something they don't mind. Whereas if they have something like partial heterochromia, it can be a little more embarrassing to show off, and thus they try to hide it. The way that most people try and hide it is via colored contact lenses. It's also important to note that animals can also have heterochromia at times, including cats and dogs, thus making this a condition that's not solely rooted in the realm of man. Because of the variety of pigments and the type of heterochromia you can have, your eyes can literally become a whole menagerie of colors with this condition. Number 5. Red or violet eyes. Depending on the TV or movies that you watch, you're likely very familiar with the concept of having red eyes, especially if you're watching monster movies. However, the problem with this is that in humans, it's actually impossible to have naturally forming red or violet eyes, meaning that barring a condition, you'll never have a set of red or violet eyes based on your genetics. For violet eyes, though, there is a small exception to this rule. There have been people who have such deep blue eyes that people can be tricked into thinking they're purple. A great example of this was the legendary actress Elizabeth Taylor, who was known for having purple or violet eyes. But this was a trick. It was in use of lighting and makeup that made her eyes look like she had violet eyes. As for red, there is an exception or two to this rule as well, but they're not the kinds of exceptions you'd want. Red eyes can be achieved via a form of albinism, which is a rare disorder in humans where you have unnatural white skin and hair and various other things because of the lack of melanin in the body. Most albinos have blue eyes, but they can on occasion have red eyes or even pink ones. Another example is blood getting to the iris. This can turn the eye red as well. Number 4. Amber eyes. In the case of amber eyes, it's said to be truly rare to have true amber eyes, as it's a shade of them that's often seen and thus it's not truly amber. Amber eyes are completely solid and have a strong yellowish, golden, or russet and coppery tint. They can also contain a small amount of goldish gray. This kind of eye color is often referred to as wolf eyes because of their colors and hues. What's more, various kinds of animals can have amber eyes, such as dogs, owls, eagles, and even fish. Some people feel that amber eyes are close to what happens in hazel eyes, but that's incorrect. Amber eyes are different from hazel eyes because they do not contain hints of brown, green, or orange. While hazel eyes might change color or contain flecks of red or gold, amber eyes are always a solid gold hue. Number 3. Gray eyes. Gray eyes are very much one of the mysteries of the eye color world, mainly because it's very unclear how many people have gray eyes, and just as important, we honestly don't know how they form at all. Because of their tint, they're often mistaken for blue eyes, thus helping ensure that we don't know how many have gray eyes and how many honestly don't. There are 2 major theories as to why gray eyes occur. Number 1. Gray-eyed people could have an even smaller amount of melanin in their eyes than blue-eyed people. Or 2, they could have a different composition of the stroma that causes the light to scatter differently. In terms of the latter theory, that scattering of light would intend to make the color of the eyes blue, but instead they get turned gray. Number 2. Black eyes. Another monster movie trope, which also has been used to effect in the TV series Supernatural, is that of a person with black eyes. Usually in the world of media, this is a sign that the person is evil, and thus if you see someone with black eyes, you need to run away. Thankfully for the world at large, this isn't the case. But in fact, black eyes honestly don't exist the way you think they do. How so? Well, it's because there are no recorded cases of people with pure black eyes. Notice that I use the words pure black, and for good reason. There are people who at first glance will appear to have black eyes, but in fact they don't. Rather, if you look at them closely or shine a bright light in their eyes, which they probably wouldn't enjoy, you'll see that they don't have black eyes, just very dark brown ones, which they probably just could have told you without the light. How does someone get that dark a brown shade, you may ask? That would be because of melanism, or the overproduction of melanin. Recall that melanin is one of the biggest things that help you get your eye color. Having too little of it can drain the color at points, while having too much of it will make your eyes go much darker. But to have pure black eyes is at present an impossibility. Number 1, how to make your eye color a rare one. If you feel that there's a better choice that your eyes should be, there are ways to alter your eye color to make it more rare and less base. One of the simplest ones being that you can use contact lenses, prescription ones to be clear, to alter them. But the way to make them more prominent is surgery. However, to be completely blunt, the surgery is not without serious side effects and it's really risky. How risky? Well, one person who got the surgery did go partially blind, but you could also get the different colors that you want, so that's something you have to weigh the risk of. The question you're likely having right now is, how is it possible to surgically alter eye color? Well, if we're being technical, there are 2 ways. The first type is a laser surgery, not unlike LASIK. However, unlike LASIK, this surgery is used to burn away the melanin in your eyes, which helps create your eye color. So for a brown-eyed person, burning away the melanin will allow them to have blue eyes. That's a big difference, and according to the doctor, it only takes about 20 seconds to do the full operation. However, it does take a few weeks for the effects of the operation to actually show up. Again, the surgery is not for everyone, and one person posted on Instagram how they were blinded by it, and the doctor who created the surgery acknowledges the fact that they needed to study the side effects of the process. Thanks for watching. What color are your eyes? Mine are blue. Do you know someone who has a rare eye color, like my sister? Do you wish you could have a rare eye color yourself? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on World List.